getting videoed. All right, Jesse, you want to go through really quickly what we got going with the greens?
Yeah, for sure. So we got a whole bunch of different mustard greens coming up. We have a couple different beans. These are going to be some nice canning beans, black beans. Lots of different types of mustard greens coming up. This is really tasty, sort of like mild, not too hot. A little sweet, really delicious mustard green. Got some radishes coming up. A few little beets too thrown in here. What else we got? We got some arugula, more beans. Got some nasturtium coming up. Nasturtium leaves are edible, and then the flowers, once they bloom, are edible as well. Got a nice spicy kick to them. What else we got here? Moving over towards here, got a whole bunch of snap peas. Got a mix of some of those thick ones and also some of the more flatter peas that are good in stir fries. They're just starting to come out, but got a few little pretty ones here. In the middle, we got some garlic chives that started from seed or just starting to get established. So those will come back every year, so that'll be nice. This eventually will put in a whole bunch of strawberries. We got some mushrooms blooming here, so we know there's some good mycorrhizal activity going on in here while all the straw and manure starts to break down. Got some borage over here. Borage is great for bringing in beneficial insects. You can see it's just about to bloom here. These little pretty blue star-shaped flowers, when they come out, we'll candy them and put them on dishes for our June 20th summer solstice event. It's going to be awesome.
Excellent.
So this is our Ianto Evans polyculture bed, as detailed in the famous permaculture book, Gaia's Garden. Basically, we sowed a whole bunch of different types of lettuce seeds, radishes, parsnips, dill, fennel, calendula, or calendula, however you want to pronounce it. And the idea is the radishes come up really quick, so all these big greens, these are all radishes, and they create this really nice canopy that helps hold in moisture and allows the lettuce to get established. So if we sort of peel back this layer, you start seeing some little greens underneath there, some radishes. So the idea is, as we thin out the radishes, it creates these openings that then allow some of the lettuce greens that have already germinated to start getting established. So just in the same way that at the edge of a forest, you have a lot of activity with berries and smaller trees, you get that edge effect, and it's the same here, but just on a smaller scale. So you can see the sort of edge of the garden here, the edge of the garden bed. You have a lot of this, like, speckled bib lettuce coming up. Got some dill, and it's still really moist underneath there. And there, pull out a nice juicy radish. They're just so wet. I mean, you can feel how this is just holding on to moisture. And that's the key. That's the key with most of these beds, is trying to hold on to moisture. Hold on to nutrients. So sweet and spicy. And you can see very few weeds. Hardly any weeds, because we've created this sort of living mulch. And the weeds that are here, they come out really easily. We drop them back down, create that biomass. And eventually, as we start to create a little more spaces, we'll start plopping in some more late season beans, so that all year round the soil is constantly covered, either with weeds that we've pulled out, or fresh living plants. This is our sort of experimental spinach and carrot bed, which has so far been one of our most successful beds. And it was a similar idea here. The spinach comes up really fast and creates this really nice canopy layer for the carrots to germinate and get established. And then as we start picking some of the spinach, which, even though it's starting to go to seed, still delicious. Awesome. As we're picking the spinach, it creates a little more light for the carrots to start really getting established. And then as we're pulling out the spinach plants, as they go to seed and as they start to lose a lot of their flavor, we're plopping in tomato plants in place. So like here's a little tomato plant just starting to get established, still safe in the canopy here. So it's not losing out on moisture. It doesn't really have any competition for weeds because it has this nice canopy layer to really keep the weed level down. And yeah, overall very successful. So we'll definitely be trying this again next year. And the carrots, we pulled out a carrot earlier. It's beautiful, a couple inches. So we're hoping by in a couple weeks when we start harvesting more for the summer solstice event, we'll have tons of juicy, delicious, sweet, pesticide-free carrots. It'll be awesome.
So you got some beets over there, it looks like.
Oh yeah, beets are doing really well. Corn hasn't done so well. We didn't do a scarecrow, and we didn't do some other techniques such as hanging CDs to scare the crows away. So we've seen the crows come in here a couple times and just pull out tons of corn, including they pulled out our sunflowers too. So we're gonna try replanting some of those today and see what makes it. But these are our three sister beds: corn, beans, and squash. So you can see the squash and pumpkins doing really well. These are a nice jack-o'-lantern type pumpkin. We have edible pumpkins and then also sort of more for ornamental purposes. And some summer squash, late season squash, butternut squash. And yeah, similar idea with the beets to create that nice canopy layer. And then the idea was to plant in peppers in the middle to sort of mimic that understory, give them that humidity that they really want to thrive. So you can see one little pepper in here. Our peppers by seed didn't do so well, but the ones we did put in are really loving this sort of shady understory. And then as we start to pull those peppers out, or pull the beets out, it'll start giving that light that the peppers really need to start, going heavy into production. But you can see these beets are getting nice and big under there. So really starting to bulge out. Check out this guy right here.
Oh wow.
Really getting a nice body on there. And a lot of people don't use the beet greens, but beet greens are one of the tastiest things out there. They're very like nutty, sweet, juicy. Eat them raw or fry them up. Really delicious. So we'll start harvesting some of the greens, create a little more sun in there. Maybe get some more pepper seedlings to place in. This is, although it looks very similar, this is all carrots and parsley. So rows of carrots and parsley. This is all carrots. We've got parsley in the middle. Here we see a little swallowtail caterpillar munching on some of the carrot. Not doing any harm. Just sort of hanging out. So the idea again for here is the carrots. The carrots are coming up, creating a little bit of an overstory canopy layer, giving a little bit of shade to get the tomatoes established. We got tomatoes coming all through here. And we'll let some of the parsley and probably some of the carrots too go to seed. Both parsley and carrots create that really umbel flower, white umbel flowers that invite a lot of like predatory wasps and other beneficial insects that we really want to be patrolling our grounds here. So yeah, overall very successful, and no irrigation. We've watered a little bit when we come out here on the weekends, but so far no irrigation. So this is all sort of experimenting, seeing what does well without irrigation, what really needs to be irrigated. So this was all supposed to be chard in here, and our guess is that the chard just didn't become established because it probably didn't get enough water. Whereas the carrots did okay. We have some more tomatoes spaced in here too. You can see the difference between these two beds. Tons of beets, just like few beets. So these were two different types of beets. So that gives us information for next year. Definitely going to use this one again.